Good morning. This is the 7th video I'm making about the Gerhardt Konig trial that is taking place in Hawaii. I think Court TV is referring to it as Trouble in Paradise. They always name the cases. Anyway, Dr. Konig is on trial for a second-degree attempted murder, allegedly trying to beat his wife Ariel to death with a rock on a hiking trail. Now, I've noticed a lot of you are new. I have a lot of new followers over the course of this, and a lot of these videos are getting some pretty good views. So let me just go back and just kind of recap a couple of things, a little housekeeping, if you will. One, if you're just tuning in, if you're a new follower, you probably don't know my shtick yet. So let me just explain to you. When it comes to trials, I am not a journalist, I'm not a legal scholar, I'm not an attorney, a judge, I'm neither the defendant or the prosecution, related to them in any way. I've never been on a jury. This is basically me just talking shit, right? I start learning about the case, I form an opinion, I come here and I drink coffee and I chit chat. That's it. If you are looking for like a true daily recap, unbiased, just show me nothing but the facts. Show me these clips of what's going on every day in the trial, each person testifying. I'm not your person. But there is, I've tagged her below. Her name is Megan Konig, and she is a legal journalist. And her whole page is filled with nothing but, let me just go watch each person testify. That's it. She gets the meaty parts, puts them on there. Perfect. That's who you need to follow if you just want like a daily dose of, accuracy. You come here to have coffee and chit chat and hear me talk smack about people. And yes, I've already formed an opinion. A lot of times in the first video, I try to show both sides. I try to be very unbiased in the beginning. Here's the facts. But over time, you can see I quickly form opinions, and I'm not afraid to say that. So it's a very opinionated page here. Now, I will tell you, I'm 6-0, baby, when it comes to the cases. I was on the side of the defense in both Karen Reed trials, Raul Valle, and the Young Thug YSL case that took place here in Atlanta. So I was on the defense side, and all of those, I found they were all going to be found not guilty. Then I'm on the side of the prosecution in Donna Adelson, Brian Walsh, and Corey Richens. I kind of knew from the beginning that all of them should be and would be found guilty. Now, how I feel about Gerhardt Konig, I think he did it. And I think it was premeditated. And in Hawaii, just to answer the questions that keep looming out there, in Hawaii, second-degree murder is virtually the same as first-degree murder everywhere. I covered that in another video. There are a couple of states. I know Hawaii is one, and I know New York is one. There might be other places. But they reserve first-degree murder for this thing. So if you're a mass murderer, if you, bomb places, if you mass shooting, like if you do these types of acts, or you do acts of violence or kill people of a certain selected group, like judges, police officers, priests, first responders, those kinds of things, you can be charged with first degree. In this case, he's charged with second degree, but it still carries premeditation, and it can carry a sentence of lifetime in prison. And because I understand how frustrating it is when your For You page just drops you in the middle of something, you have no context of what's happening, I've created a playlist. So go to my profile, you go above the pinned videos, you'll see playlists. I've started a playlist. The first several videos in this series are there if you want to go all the way back to the beginning to catch up. It's probably easier than trying to go and watch snippets of the trial and get caught up. Now, there have been parts I've missed. I came into it late, surprise, surprise, because I didn't know about this trial until someone tipped me off. And so I jumped in, and there's a lot of stuff I still don't know. And there's answers I still haven't figured out. But I always try to do the best to try to give them to you. Now, as of yesterday's video, I talked about the doctor having a medical bag at home, like a go bag, right? And it was filled with a lot of stuff that I personally, because I don't know any better, I feel it's suspicious, especially the type of drugs that he had vials for. Now, this set off a lot of comments. A good portion of you said, absolutely not. You do not take vials of medicine outside of a hospital. My, brother, cousin's, uncle's, neighbor's friend was an anesthesiologist, and he was never allowed to remove these things from the hospital. Others of you say, yeah, like how do you provide emergency service if you don't have medicines in your bag? So I don't know the answer. It might be based on the state that you're licensed in or the places that you're practicing of what they allow you to do. But another commenter came in, and I do believe this to be true, that the stuff that he had in his bag, he's an anesthesiologist, so it is intended to knock people out. And some of the stuff that he had was pretty high grade medication. Someone even said, that's the Michael Jackson stuff. We were talking about the Michael Jackson stuff in the Corey Richins case too. Michael Jackson's making a comeback. But anyway, it was kind of the Michael Jackson stuff, which that's a lot. I don't know. I'm still on the fence. In my personal opinion, I don't believe a doctor should have a go bag that is filled with that type of stuff. And I'm very curious about the syringe that already had liquid in it. And I don't know. Again, still the prosecution is still presenting their case. I have not watched all the testimony, so it's highly possible we are going to hear about that syringe that has liquid in it. I do not know the answer to that. There's also a huge number of you, and I 100% agree with you. Under no circumstances, if your partner has an affair, do you get to kill them? 100% no. I have said in every single trial I've covered, divorce, baby, divorce. Like, I don't know why people don't just get divorced anymore. Typically, if you do, there are money issues, there are custody issues, and a lot of people don't want to fight that battle. So they think, wrongly, but they think that they should just, well, if I just killed him, I'd be out of the picture altogether and I'd get everything. Greed plays a huge part in this. The reason I talked for 2 videos about the alleged emotional affair that Ariel had, and I don't consider it that, let's be clear. I think she had a platonic friendship who she was chit-chatting with at work off hours. I personally am not that jealous. So there's nothing about this alleged affair that would have made me bothered. Everybody, I think people you have work husbands and work wives, and I think it's okay to have friends at work, even friends of the opposite sex. But anyway, but the reason the defense is making such a big deal out of it, I said this in one of the first videos, is that it feels to me like that's usually a motive. That is usually a motive. In fact, in the Brian Walsh case, his wife was having an affair, and they acted like Brian didn't know. Brian never knew. He never knew about that affair because they didn't want him to have motive to harm her or do something. And so why in this one they're making such a big deal out of it? Because I think it makes him look more guilty. What they're trying to do is they're going to try to do a self-defense defense or a heat of the moment defense. This alleged affair would take center stage where he knew about it. He was emotionally wrecked. He lost trust for her. She wouldn't stop talking to the guy, something, and he snapped. That's the defense they're going to put on. So while I agree with you that she could have been screwing the whole office, it doesn't give him a right to put a hand on her. It does not any way, shape, or form. I don't condone that. This is something we have to keep talking about, and it's okay to have opinions about whether it was an affair, whether it was not a affair. And I'm sure there were plenty of you that were like, I would never be friends with a male coworker. That's such a betrayal to my husband. That says a little bit more about your marriage than it does Ariel Konig's, but whatever. All opinions are welcome. Please don't fight with each other in the comments. For the love of God, if you're going to come into the comments, I read them. So don't talk shit about me like I'm not there. All right, those are the rules. Welcome to the page. I will be right back with another video about what happened in testimony yesterday.